Hey guys, and welcome to my LEGO Star Wars Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit comparison to the source material, which is scenes from Return of the Jedi. And just before I get started, I am missing just a few pieces from the set. LEGO will be sending me them. They just won't be here in time for the video. I'm just missing that one shell piece right here and the cable pieces. However, that will not affect my decision making in this video, and here is a full picture of what it looks like complete. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty, let's just take an overall look at this set. The Desert Skiff is pretty well done. It has very accurate shaping. The one issue that I do notice between these two is that the LEGO Desert Skiff in relation to the LEGO Sarlacc Pit is just way too close. In the scene, the Desert Skiff is quite a few feet higher than the Sarlacc Pit, but the Legofied version has this plank coming right over the Sarlacc Pit, and in certain angles, that plank cannot really reach over. Like on the sides right here, if you keep this still, it'll actually push back the plank. And so that is one thing to note. In terms of the Sarlacc Pit, the Sarlacc Pit is much deeper and has more sand raised upwards to the material. I don't know if they could have done that for this set since this is a play set, but again, just something to keep in mind. The first thing I want to note is the fact that the sand is very well done on top. In the scene, there are sharp, jagged edges that overhang the mouth, and then on the Lego set, we can see that same thing happening here, where there are sharp, jagged edges that are overhanging the mouth. So that is very well done to the scene. However, in terms of the teeth, the scene has rows and rows and rows of teeth before it goes into that black darkness. In the Legofied version, we are just getting that one row of teeth. If this set was raised just a little bit higher, we got a second row of teeth that would have shown a little more accuracy, but the teeth are represented here, so can't complain too much there. And then there are these brown pieces down here, and those, in terms of looking at the scene again, they represent the gums, I believe. Maybe the sharp pieces right here could look a little bit like teeth, but they're not bad. Then you have the black down here, which represents that little bit of abyss of that this Sarlacc Pit is very deep. In terms of the tentacles, I'm actually a fan of this tentacle function. There are things you can do with it. For example, there's a scene where Boba Fett is getting scooped into the Sarlacc, and so you can attach the stud onto his foot, and then all of a sudden the Sarlacc Pit can be dragging him towards the beak and eating him. And then this part, I think, would have been great to have a lever to open and close it, but it does get the function done. And I think that the beak could have used some printing, maybe some wrinkles on top, like the scene shows. In the inner part too, maybe a little bit of that pink gum, but I'm not sure if a round sticker would be that successful in the inner part. And one of the fun scenes that you can recreate with this set is when Chewbacca is reaching over and catches Han Solo from falling over the Desert Skiff. And Han Solo, he's trying to reach for Lando, but Lando is being held by the Sarlacc Pit and the tentacle is just taking him. And this is when Han Solo has to shoot off the tentacle so that way Lando can get free. Taking a look at the Desert Skiff, in one of the scenes, they are fighting the henchmen. However, there is no actual henchman on this set. Meanwhile, the movie has about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 5 henchmen, but there's not one of them on here. You do have a villain of the scene, which is Boba Fett, so that does get the pass, but still, nonetheless, there could have been at least one henchman. Overall design, like I mentioned before, is done very well. It has that sloped front and sloped sides, and then it of course has that railing. I'm just missing that piece there. Then it has that open entryway just like the scene does. Then the railing is done well and represented here, as well as just a little bit of that entryway here as well. And then looking at the back, it also has that slope again. And then my favorite part about this set is actually these fin pieces right here, this fin, because I like that they use this piece here, which I believe is from Ninjago, as well as these longer rods. And then here you can see that they used a longer Lego piece here, which represents very accurately to the movie material. So that is done very, very well. And I actually am a fan that they use this larger round piece in the middle just for stability, since this is a play set, so it should not be able to fall easily, which it does not. So that's good. Another thing to note is the fact that there is a scene where Luke Skywalker is fighting on top of this box here. However, in this version, it is represented, so that's great, but it is way, way, way too small in comparison to the movie. But that's just, again, probably a stylistic type choice. It is here, but could have been made a little bit bigger, perhaps. Taking a look at Lando Calrissian, this character is really, really good. I like the helmet mold. This helmet mold is really nice with that gold stripe on the top with a little bit of that silver dots on there, which is accurate to the material. Again, with these white tusk looking pieces on here, and then the chin strap is just great. And then it, of course, Lando Calrissian looks like Lando Calrissian, has that mustache and an alternate face right there, a little bit more of a serious one. The armor looks great, and then I guess it just depends on the material that you are looking at, but his shirt doesn't look as orange in the movie. However, maybe there's other ones that have it as orange, but then again, he has the black sleeves, but there is no armor on the top to represent shoulder pads, which would have been nice to have right there. And then taking a look at the feet, in the movie, they are pure white with boots. So I'm not entirely sure why they are brown here, but yes, they are purely white with boots on the bottom. So that is a little bit of a different take, but again, this is a nice looking Lando Calrissian. Chewbacca has pretty much been a standardized figure. I don't think they can get much better than this. I like the pouch that he has with the silver, and this is just a custom piece on the Lego minifigure to get a more accurate Chewbacca. Again, you can see that that pouch continues on the back side, and then it has all of that furriness that he has, which is just great. And then a little bit of printing on the feet. Don't think they can get too much better than this. Maybe some fur accents on the arms, but other than that, this is Chewbacca. This is another great figure. He has the classic Han Solo hair, which has just been perfected. And then he also has the squinting eyes, because this is right after he was taken out of the carbonite. So he's still acclimating to the light. And then even here, his eyes are still not fully open. And then in the scene, he's wearing a long white sleeve shirt, and this is accurately represented here. And you can see a little bit of his chest at the top, just how it was in the movie where he had it slightly opened. And then the pants are good. However, he does have a bit of a stripe on the side of the pants that could have been added for a little more accuracy. Didn't need to, but that is something to note. Taking a look at Luke Skywalker, the hair is actually really nice. Just comparing it to the scene, I'm not sure why, but the hair is actually parted the other way. So that is something to note. I did not see a scene where his hair was parted this way in terms of the Desert Skiff scene, but otherwise, very good looking figure. He has that black robe, which is also accurate to the scene. It's much more gray here in the Lego-fied version, but that's just a little bit more of a stylistic approach, but still very simple, very good Luke Skywalker. Taking a look at Boba Fett, apparently this is the wrong version of Boba Fett. This is the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett rather than the Return of the Jedi. However, it's still a nice looking figure. The arm printing is great. But there is no cloth piece overhanging. And again, this is from a different movie. And then taking a look at Nine Nub, who is not from the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc pit scene, but is in Star Wars movies. This is just a great looking figure. The overall head mold is really, really good. Just a custom head mold purely for this figure, and it is just very accurate material. And again, the jacket, the red arms, the red legs. There could have been some boots if we wanted to improve something. Some black dual molded boots would have been perfect for this, but otherwise a great figure. So thank you for watching my video, and please comment down below any other scenes that you saw that the Lego set either missed on or included. Let's keep the discussion going.